It's a rainy Saturday morning here in Southern California, and I'm outside because on a Saturday morning because one of my kids is practicing on the field next to me here. But I thought I'd take a couple minutes and just talk about something that I've been thinking about over the last couple of days. I've had a number of conversations recently with folks who are going through some life change and making decisions about various things that really, when they came to kind of the fork in the road, or they've come to the fork in the road, it's not a good or bad kind of thing. It's you could go left, you could go right, you could move forward. Any of them would be reasonable and make sense. But all the folks I've been talking to recently have had to make the decision to do what they believe is the best thing to do. To not just accept what's good and what's even comfortable necessarily, but to accept only what they believe is best. I've been thinking about this and reminded of a verse in the Bible, Hebrews chapter number 11 and verse 1, 12 and verse 1. I get those wrong sometimes. Hebrews 12 and verse 1. Hebrews 11 talks about all these heroes of the faith and these people who did great things. Chapter 12 then continues the thought in verse number 1 and says, with those people in mind, with the people who did these amazing things in mind, we need to lay aside every sin and those things which encumber us, those weights that we allow to keep us from moving forward. And then we need to run our race. And it's interesting because a couple of things there. We could talk about sin, and we need to lay aside sin and get away from those sins, and I think we would understand that. But then it talks about those weights, those encumbrances, those things that keep us from really running the race that has been set before us. And I think there are times in all of our lives where we need to understand this is not a decision about good or bad. It's a decision about good or best. And there are things that we need to lay aside from time to time. There are things that we need to give up from time to time. And I wonder in your own life, what is it that you need to give up to fully run the race that you've been equipped and called to run? Take an inventory of your life and look at all of the things you do, all of the things you spend your time doing, the things that you're involved in, and ask the question, what is in my life, what are the things that are a part of my life, the things that I'm doing, the things that I'm hanging on to that are really keeping me from fully running forward into that race? We know that a racer, someone who is maybe a foot race or even a vehicle race or whatever the case, someone who's involved in a race gets rid of everything they don't need so they can be all that they need to be, so they can really accomplish the thing they set out to do. And my encouragement to you today on this somewhat chilly, rainy Southern California Saturday morning is look at your life, take an inventory, and examine those areas that need to go. Maybe they're good areas, but they're not the best for you. What do you need to give up to run the race before you?